Today I'd like to tie for you a CB Stalker. This fly was designed by a New Jersey tyer named Charlie Bates. The hook I have in the vise is a size 8. This is a 2 extra long streamer hook. It's very long, but it's a streamer hook. We're going to start out with weight, and this is optional. I have here a piece of lead tape, and it's about 2.5 inches long. I have it tapered on both ends so that we get a fatter section in the middle. I'm going to start it at the back. I'm going to tie this in, and you can overlap it slightly. And I'm going to squeeze it on as I go up. And as we get to the middle, it's going to be at its thickest. And then we're going to wind it back down. Kind of got to pull it a little bit tight there. And I have just a little bit too much for this. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. That was a little over 2 inches, so 1 3/4 to 2 inches would be good. We're going to start with the body, and the body is going to be white floss, and I'm just going to use the white floss right out of the bobbin. I'm going to wrap it a few times, and then I'm going to remove the excess. Now we're going to tie in the rib, and the rib is going to be silver tinsel, and this is a silver and gold tinsel. So I'm going to tie it in so I can see the gold side, and I'm going to use that floss to tie it in. And even with the floss, you're going to have to unwind the floss now and then to keep it flat. We're going to bring it right to the back, and then we're going to come forward with it. Every time you make a wind, it tightens the floss or the thread. It puts a wrap in it. So after every couple of turns, you're going to have to twist your spool counterclockwise. Now when I reach the top, I'm going to put a whip finish in there. Keep that thread or that floss on the flat. And I put the whip finish towards the front. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. And remove that excess. Now I'm going to switch to 6/0 black thread. And I'm going to tie that at the eye. And I'm going to bring this back about 2 eye lengths back on it. And I'm going to remove that excess. I'm going to take my silver tinsel, and I'm going to wind that. And you want to keep this tight. And you want to keep nice uniform wraps in there. And when I reach the thread, I'm going to go ahead and give it that extra wrap just to help secure it. Now I'm going to remove the excess tinsel. Now for the wing, I'm going to take a white blood marabou, and you want them to be all fluffy. If there's strings on the end, just go ahead and break them off. Just gather it together. Gather it together like that and just break those ends off. And I'm going to take about maybe an inch or an inch and a half worth of the marabou from the stem. I'm going to measure that up, and we want this to be just beyond the bend of the hook. So that's about okay there. I'm going to go ahead and lick my fingers, and I'm going to get this marabou under control. You can use water if you'd like. That's going to get that marabou under control. And I'm going to put a couple of wraps right there. There we go. I came back to where the bottom was. Now I'm going to pick up the tag, and I'm going to put a couple of wraps in front of it, and this is going to trap it in there so that it doesn't roll on you. I'm going to go ahead and trim that tag end off at an angle. And I'm going to secure the remainder. It's already drying out. Now I'm going to turn my fly upside down, and for the throat I'm going to use red marabou, and the same with this. These are all fluffy right here, they're nice, but if I was going to take those top ones, you see those straight points, you would want to break those off. I'm going to take a much smaller amount than I did for the wing. I'm going to measure that up, and I want that to be about half the length of the body. Going to measure that, and then I'm going to remove the front section. Before I do that, I'm going to wet this marabou. Just give it that little bit of saliva. And I'm going to secure that right on top. I got a little bit of a tuft there, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. And now I can turn it back over. Make sure it's on the bottom. And I'm going to finish off the head. And spinning your thread counterclockwise to flatten it out is a good idea here when you want to get good coverage. Use my rotary feature so I can see any spots that I may miss. When you have a real long hook, it helps to hold it as you're wrapping. And that is one of the reasons why you need to make sure that your rib is real tight. before I realized that, I've held the hook and I've actually had the tinsel come out loose on me because I didn't have it tight enough. Now I'm going to take the whip finish give it the whip finish. Remove that thread and we're going to give it a coat of head cement. Just hold the marabou out of the way. You want to put a nice coat on here for it to soak in, because that's going to get soaked in pretty well. And go all the way around with it also. And here we have the CB Stalker. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.